Now, back to a story we've been covering over the last day or so. A fourth SABC board member has resigned. The presidency made the announcement a little earlier. Our reporter Aldrin Sampier joins us in the studio just to bring us up to speed on where things stand. Now, our colleague Samkele Maseko yesterday was reporting on three. Members of the board that had resigned. Now there's a fourth.
Now we have the fourth person, and that is Matata Tsedu. He's also now handed in his resignation letter to the presidency, confirming that it has 4 resignation letters that the president has received from these board members, which means that there are only 4 other board members left in the SABC. This is now the non-executive board members, and then of course you have the other 3 executive board members, which of course includes the CFO, the CEO, as well as the COO. I can see, the expression in your face. Yes, it is a dire state that the SABC finds itself in, especially the board, considering that they want this government bailout, at least some sort of guarantee from Treasury, and you would need a board to do that. But when you have a board that does not quorate, because as the board is at the moment, the board does not quorate.
There's no quorum.
There's no quorum, yeah.
Okay.
And what people should understand that it does not mean that the board is now defunct. The board does not exist. The board still exists. From a previous court ruling, we understand that what has to happen before the board members are removed is that there must be an inquiry, and this must be a parliament inquiry. We know that parliament is not sitting anymore, which means that the president will have to wait probably until February, March, before there is a parliamentary sitting, and the board then decides on the inquiry of the SABC's current board members who are still there and the fitness to still remain in office.
Now, from what we understand from reports over the last few months, there's been some disagreements within that board about the direction the SABC should be taking, what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, what they expect from government. Of those leading members that have resigned, what do we know about where they stood on the direction of the public?
What we know about some, the argument has always been the direction of the SABC, but also the powers of the minister in terms of some saying that the minister has too much powers in terms of trying to influence the SABC, while the most contentious issue that the SABC is sitting now is the retrenchment of around 2,000 people, including non-permanent staff and permanent staff as well. The minister intervened, and the minister said that do not go ahead with the retrenchments, and of course the SABC board has said that no, we are going ahead with these retrenchments, and the minister then issued that email, the letter that we've seen circulating throughout the weekend, where she said she will desist from interacting with the board and she will report this matter to the president. Here's something that we need to understand as well, is that the president himself has made a public announcement, at least at the Job Summit, where he said that government entities and organizations, including departments as well as SOEs, will not be retrenching. There's, well, for lack of a better word, a moratorium on retrenchments in government institutions. But yet you have the SABC that's arguing that no, we will go ahead with this. And they, of course, are relying on the recent High Court ruling where there was this argument around the interference of the minister when it comes to the appointment of the executive.
Now, in as much as that board has always been politicized, it must be rather disconcerting for the thousands of people whose livelihoods are on the line here. In as much as, for now, there seems to be a stalemate and nobody knows what direction things are going, so they can go into the festive knowing that there will probably be no movement, it must still be quite worrying.
It must be worrying for SABC employees. I have worked at the SABC as well, and I know what that process feels like when you have that level of instability at a board level, even at the national, at the executive level, because you have that fear that what if come March and we still don't have that guarantee. At least we know from the chairperson, Bongo Musa, when they were speaking in Parliament, that we only have money enough to sustain us until March. After that, that'll be D-Day. We don't have the money. They still don't have the guarantee from Treasury, and that must be something that plays on the minds of many staff members. You can imagine the level of anxiety, because as some people say, that you go into an employment place and you plan your years, 2-3 years, around a revenue that you'll be getting money. Or
you have to plan for the coverage of a huge election happening just 2 months after March.
And that's actually the most crucial part of this. If you look at the Constitutional Court ruling on my vote, the Constitutional Court speaks about the important role that the SABC plays when it comes to access to information. Around 39 million radio listeners, probably around 20 million viewers on TV. These people rely on the SABC, and the Constitutional Court has said that the SABC plays a huge role when it comes to free and fair elections. So if the SABC fails to deliver on that mandate, that would mean that a government institution would have been in violation of the Constitution.
Well, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you for that update and some very good insight there as well. Aldrin St-Pierre, our reporter, covering this very latest development that a fourth member of the SABC board has indeed resigned.